Our next presentation is by Al Lowe about N-scale modular railroading, and we all owe a lot to Al for his contributions and leadership.
20 years ago, we started an NTRAK group. We're there to have fun, to kind of entertain the public and to be outgoing, and we do modeling, yes, but we also have a great time running trains and camaraderie.
Hello, my name is Al Lowe, and in this video I'll share with you the NMRA's Pacific Northwest Region's 4th Division NTRAK layout. I'll discuss its history, how modular railroading differs from home layouts, some of the electrical issues we've tackled and surmounted, how we transport, set up, and tear down our layout, how we handle the variety of a layout created by dozens of individuals, and finally, I'll share some of our modeling. In the 1980s, Roger Ferris and others in the 4th Division promoted modular railroading as a way to expand the hobby and interest the public in model railroading. An N-scale group was started, but didn't last. In 2001, Dave Kreitler spearheaded a new NTRAK group. 2 of its members are still involved, Doug Bulger and me. The 4th Division sponsored our group by providing the materials for our 4 corners. They're still in use today. Members added 2 straight modules for our first show at the Pacific Science Center during Thanksgiving weekend of 2001. With 4 corners and 2 straights, there was barely enough room in the center for one slender member. For years, we hauled modules to shows in our cars. As we gathered more modules and more stuff, we rented a U-Haul trailer. Later, the 4th Division bought us our own trailer. After years of inefficient loading, Mike Donnelly designed wooden carts to fit our trailer and our modules, which we still use today. Doug Bulger and I each bought a personal Digitrax DCC system, and we hauled them to shows for redundancy, and we still use that original DCC equipment. Modular railroading differs from home layouts. It needs sturdy yet lightweight construction, robust wiring, redundant electrical, and portable everything. The NTRAK standard was established in 1973, nearly a half century ago. Our railhead is 40 inches above the floor. We have 3 main lines at 4 inches, 5.5 inches, and 7 inches from the front edge. Some modules also have a 14-inch line that provides for additional operation. Rails end 2.5 inches from the end of a module. We use standard Atlas 5-inch straight tracks, or often re-railers, to bridge the gap between modules. Some module sets must be used together and only accept bridge tracks on the ends of the set. Within a module, members can do whatever they want. We differ from the national standard in that we do not have attached backdrops nor scene dividers between modules. We spent our first few years getting everything to work reliably. Once it did, we tired of trains chasing their cabooses around and around a racetrack, so we started 4D NTRAK, an operations subdivision. NTRAK is like NTRAK, but with, you guessed it, only one main line. It requires at least an industry or passing siding every 2 modules to aid operations. After 4D NTRAK was secure, we regretted not including a mountain line from the very beginning. NTRAK defines a mountain line as the track 20 inches from the module front and 3 1/8 inches higher than the other lines. Retrofitting that to our many finished modules has been quite the challenge. Robust wiring means never trusting rail joiners for electrical contact. Every piece of rail on every module is soldered together with rail joiners, and then a feeder wire is soldered to each rail from the proper power bus. Our yard alone has over 1,200 feeders. Between modules, we connect the 4-track power buses with Anderson power pole connectors. Each module has 4 DCC power buses, labeled red, yellow, blue, and green. The power bus cables are 16-gauge wire or larger. Each module also includes a LocoNet bus and a 12-volt AC lighting bus. Our overhead lighting bus also uses Anderson power poles, but configured sideways, purple beside purple, so it can physically not connect to any DCC bus. LocoNet is carried through each module on Cat3 6-conductor telephone cable with RJ12 plugs to connect the UP5s that are mounted on some modules. A female-to-female connector hangs on the left pigtail. From the audience side, the left end of a module is female, and the right end is male. Our UP5s are rarely used these days, as now everyone uses duplex radio throttles. We use primarily Atlas Code 80 track and Pico medium turnouts. Even our original modules turnouts are still reliable after 20 years of shows and hauling in and out of the trailer. Our standard module is 2 feet by 4 feet. Some modules are 6 feet long. Modules may have an extra 6 inches in front and or 6 inches in back, but few do. But that's why the front of our layout doesn't always line up. Doug and I each have a converted blue tool cart with a 110-volt power strip attached, a 12-volt lighting transformer with 2 300-watt circuits, a Digitrax PS 2012 power supply, an LNRP LocoNet repeater, a DCS 200 command station or a DB200 booster, a PM42 4-circuit track power manager, a power routing switch box that once determined whether each rail bus was DCC or DC, but now merely lets us power each bus on or off individually, plus 2 ground connections for a dedicated cart interconnect cable. Each cart also holds a variety of cables with unique plugs. A large T-ended snake cable that feeds the layout in 2 directions, containing a LocoNet cable with a 1-to-2 adapter, 2 8 power pole arrays to power the layout's 4 power buses, 2 purple power pole cables to feed 2 300-watt 12-volt layout light buses, a 4-pin Molex and LocoNet cable for the programming cleaning station, a 5.5mm black power connector to power the antenna mast UR92 radio receiver and LocoNet Wi-Fi receiver, and a female LocoNet connector for the antenna mast. We divide every layout in 2, so each cart powers half the setup. Since each cart has a PM42, we thus have 8 electrical blocks powered by 2 PS 2012 power supplies. Our UR92 radio receivers can each handle 20 throttles. Our 2 Wi-Fi receivers can each handle 4 smartphones. Thus, we're limited to only 48 simultaneous wireless operators. The layout designer figures out where to break the buses to provide equal power to each section of lights, DCC, LocoNet, etc., and then places these colored wooden blocks across the rails during setup to remind everyone setting up to insulate the rails and whether things underneath the layout get plugged in or not. Our 42-page full-color illustrated operator's manual describes all this in detail. We carry both a dedicated cleaning station and a laptop programming station. These ride atop the blue carts between shows, then are set up on a table. The cleaning station plugs into the blue cart with a command station. The laptop station can plug in anywhere. The laptop runs NMRA and is equipped with every recent equipment manual that we can download for easy reference during shows. Everything we use at a show must be taken to that show, so we've built quite a collection of portable storage for the various bits and pieces required. At first we built racks for some of our modules, but they didn't use the space in the trailer very efficiently. Mike Donnelly designed our current system, which we built as a club project one summer. It wastes about 1 inch of space from left to right and 6 inches from front to back. Our early carts often used cheap, small casters. We quickly learned the benefits of larger diameter and higher quality. Now loading and unloading the trailer is a breeze. We built plywood storage boxes to fit on top of our blue carts and a dedicated utility cart to haul our stanchions, skirting, clamps, electrical cables, pushpin, Velcro, etc., etc., etc. We try to never repeat any layout setup. At last count, we've set up in 107 unique formations so far, and next month's show will be different again. Some of our members love to run trains around the loops. Others enjoy operating. We encourage both. Our current record is 13 simultaneous operators. So we encourage folding legs on any module large enough to hold them. Some of our 2-foot modules even have fold-up folding legs. Modules set up and tear down without tools. Each member provides clamps to hold his module to the next module. Early on, we brought rolling stock to shows in their original plastic boxes, which we would then unpack, run, and then repack at the end of every show. When we discovered Dean Doffenbaugh's carrying cases, they quickly caught on, as you can see. Each module has Velcro attached to its audience side. We carry hundreds of feet of 38-inch tall black skirting with Velcro sewn to its top. Our name banner pennants have Velcro on the front and back, so they can attach anywhere between the skirting and the module. We even carry throttle holders that Velcro to the modules. Lighting a layout is easy, but what if you want light coming in from over the aisle? And transportable, and quick to set up and tear down, and low voltage. I saw an idea in a magazine. Club members have repeatedly refined it until we now have a standardized design that then became a featured article in that same magazine. Each module gets one 4-foot tall pole made of electrical conduit. That pole has two 10-watt LED MR16 3000 Kelvin bulbs suspended out over the audience's heads, so they see even lighting from over and behind them. We wire every module with a light bus and equip its pigtails with a unique plug that can't interconnect with our track buses. These lights fit perfectly inside a standard black Plano gun case, just in case you've seen us at a train show and wondered. Our membership requirements are easy. You must be an NMRA member. Then you need to buy a throttle if you want to run trains, and a red club shirt so that people know you're supposed to be running trains. Building a module is encouraged, but not required. Rolling stock is encouraged, but not required. All we require is that you have a good time at shows. We consider ourselves an anarchical group. We have no officers. One member takes charge of each show that we attend. Some members are good at electrical, others computers, or layout design, or operations. No one handles money. We leave that to the 4th Division treasurer. So far, our lack of system has worked out well. Our modules also reflect that same attitude. Our members build what they want, how they want, and as long as they meet the NTRAK or 1-track standard, we don't care. We don't have a standard look, period, or railroad. You can run any train you like. I think the only thing we insist on is medium gray ballast, and I'm not sure we even stick to that. On behalf of the entire 4D NTRAK group, I want to thank you for watching, and if you see us at a train show, please stop by and say hello.
Well, that's all I've got.
Nicely
Very
done,
nice.
Al.
Very impressive, Al.
You've kind of inspired me to build a module, Al.
Your secret for social success seems to be to keep it loose and minimize those Eastern guys' rules that run the 75 pages. Makes you think of the Pharisees.
Yeah, we try to have fun. I mean, that was part of the group's establishment. And when we first started, Dave Kreitler said, I've been in groups where they had presidents and they became dictators. And he said, as long as we are a group, I don't want to have anybody in charge. And it's kind of worked out well for us. I mean, we've gone through lots of members, but we've got about 25 people now. And of the 25, at least 15 show up. So that's pretty good. I'm happy with that.
How many guys are willing to step up and be the manager for a forthcoming show?
Every show is a different person, and we do about 6 or 7 shows a year. So
when you're organizing a show, you've got to have an idea of who's going to bring what modules.
yeah, the first thing we do is put out a request for availability to see who's going to come and who because we have most of our modules in a trailer now, we can kind of bank on these 50 modules being available for a show. But we also ask for people who want to bring modules that aren't in the trailer. And we try to, whoever designs the layout, often Mike Donnelly, will try and include those modules as well. Mike, do you have anything to add to this?
I don't know. We have several layout designers. Like I said, you said, there's a number of people that know how to set up the layout. I'm still surprised that the anarchy has worked.
Thanks, everybody.
Actually, it's not total anarchy. Well, we don't have any officers. We do have senior members, and Al and Doug and whatnot.
So Al, maybe you or Mike would walk us through the process where you hear, let's say, the Pacific Science Center show, which usually is held, and you know that's coming up. Walk us through the process of how you then prepare to respond to that and get everybody on board and recruit a lead. How does that work?
Well, we don't have meetings. I should have mentioned that probably. We're an entirely an email group. We have a groups.io site, and all of our communications are done via email. We have one meeting a year in normal years, face to face, during the summer, where we plan out what shows are coming up during the year and announce the calendar, and then pick somebody to be in charge of that show. But basically, there's a call for modules, and then a call for a design for a layout and some interaction that's posted online. We see what we like, what we don't like. A lot of it is dependent upon what size we get back from the show itself. If we ask for a particular size to set up, we can't design for that size because the show might say, oh no, you only get half that much. Or you get this science center says you get this little space in front of the curved railing that we've had the past few years, in which our straight modules are mounted in front of a curved railing. So that's been a fun task, but it always varies in that way. And then we have announced when we will set things up, and we try to get as many members as we can to help set up. Mike calculated that it takes 1.25 man-hours to set up a module. Is that right? You get
Yeah,
it right? Yeah.
That's actually sort of a prorated thing, because it's for basically how long it takes us to set the layout from start to finish, and then divided by the number of people and the number of modules in the layout. But that includes,
that's a good rule of thumb. If it takes about 1.25 man-hours, if you got 5 hours available to set up the layout, then you can't have 100 modules. You just can't get it done with that amount of time. So there are a lot of variables in there as to how you do it. We have a show coming up in March at the Foss Waterway Museum in Tacoma, in a new location that we've never been before. So that'll be fun to see how that works out.
Thanks, Al.
I had a question about the buildings. In some of your photographs in the video, there's some spectacularly detailed N-scale buildings, grain elevators and such. Are they attached to the module, or is there also storage boxes for the buildings and you have to set the buildings onto the module?
Most buildings are glued to the modules. Some buildings are not. It depends on the member. If they want to bring buildings and set them up every time, they can do that. But we find it's much more efficient for setup and tear down to just nail everything down and keep it in place.
And during setup and tear down, do you turn the module sideways so that things can fall off them?
Whenever possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, for probably 10 years, I kept thinking, well, I'm going to light these buildings and I'm going to put details in the interiors, and so I didn't nail my buildings down. I just kind of I put a post at each corner, and then the building would sit on top of that and stay in place. But as soon as you turned it sideways, the buildings would fall off, and so
Right.
it
Right.
became an endless hassle. And so
Yeah.
finally, I glued most of them down with Elmer's, so it's not
Yeah.
very well glued down. It's, you know, it's stuck on there good enough.
Yeah.
But
That's
I
great.
can get it off if I. Yeah.
No, it's really interesting. It's worth mentioning that we have lots of clinics during the month that also get recorded and put on our YouTube channel. All right, well, I've got to get, I just received my new NMRA magazine for the month, and I've got to get back to ordering all the tools that Jack Hamilton nicely laid out for me in his tools column in that magazine.
That's right.
It's turned into a pretty expensive hobby, really. It's all because of Jack.
I gotta tell you, I have all that stuff listed on a Excel file.
Oh,
And
no.
I made the mistake of tallying up the
Oh, no.
cost column.
Oh,
If my
no.
wife ever finds out how much I've spent in tools, she's
Uh-huh.
going to be in Europe forever.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. All right, well, with that, what's that?
I was going to say, isn't there an option, Jack, where you can just automatically have everything you recommend shipped to you each month?
I have direct deposit with several people, and they just, throw stuff my way.
Okay.
You know, not to be an entrepreneur, but Jack could actually have a service like, where you just sign up, you pay $20 a month, and you get, the next tool in the mail, whether
Yep.
you like it or not, or whether you need it or not.
Tool of the month.
Yeah, tool of the month. Okay, well, everyone enjoy the weekend and stay healthy, and we'll see you next month.